Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss this freak fest. The episode that we have all been waiting for. If you haven't been waiting for the episode, just know I have, okay? And I got my entire life.
I love it.
I was in high school then, so don't blame me.
I said, oh no, we are not doing champagne tonight. We are doing the Casamigos tequila, all right? And you already know I have my juice and tequila right here. It's about to go down. So let's toast it up to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 13, episode 10, finally giving us what the girls should have been given in episode 1, but I digress. So cheers. Woo! Let me tell you something. We about to get good and lit, all right? So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it, okay? Because we truly don't have a minute to spare, and we have to talk about Bolo and that third leg. Don't judge me down in them comments, okay? We're taking our relationship to another level, all right? We started off with a confessional, and it's Miss Kenya in the chair, and she's giving us her best. I think it was Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. Baby, I was screaming, okay? We see Kenya being all coy, like, well, what did happen? So we see Tanya, Porsha, and Candy. They're joking around, and they're getting dressed in their sexy costumes. And it was so funny because while they're laughing and joking, Cynthia has on her little fluffy robe. She's getting ready for bed. She's FaceTiming Mike, like, yeah, baby, I'm about to go to bed, you know, call it a night. And I'm like, little does she know, it's about to go all the way down, all right? So now we see all the ladies head down to the kitchen, and Candy's just giving them the scoop on what's about to go down. She lets them know that she's about to be the head mistress of the night. So they're already getting into character, calling her mistress, yes mistress, no mistress. I said, okay now, come through. So then we see all the ladies joking around, and they're hiding out, and she's like, get y'all's big asses, like, what are y'all doing? And so they follow Candy to the steps, and we see Candy crack the whip, and she's calling Miss Cynthia downstairs. Cynthia's like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? Miss Candy lets her know, you better get your behind on that couch, and all the ladies start introducing themselves by their new names. And when I tell you, Kenya got into character. Kenya, that red latex number and those red boots. I said, oh, I need those. Kenya's doing splits on the ottoman, busting it open. I said, all right now. And it was funny because while she was doing that, Drew was in her confessional like, well, if Kenya would bust it open more often, then maybe she might be still married to her man. And I was thinking, no, Drew, Mark is good and crazy. She could be butt naked with those boots on and he still wouldn't want her. It just, you know, it is what it is. That man is evil. So since everybody is in full-blown character, Candy is giving orders, and she's letting Cynthia know, take off that robe and put something sexy on. She has Marlo go upstairs to help Cynthia, and she's putting Cynthia in this like really cute set. It's like all white since she's the bride-to-be. And then it was funny because Shamia goes upstairs to give Cynthia these vibrating panties that Candy's going to be controlling. When I tell you, I was really just cracking all the way up. Like, Cynthia was so shook. She was like, girl, what is this? And it was so funny to see how all the ladies were like super into it and just having a good old time. So then they go outside for the surprise, and it is Mr. Bolo with a 20-inch dick. And
This is too much. This is.
And he is in that box and everybody's like, oh, like, yes. The way I was crying at how Marlo could not help herself by pointing out how he was in fake Chanel. I was like, girl, even during this whole freaky affair, you still gotta point out about the fashion. Like, just let it go for like one moment, please. Can I tell you something? I don't care if he was wearing fake Fendi, fake Chanel, fake Prada. With that third leg, I would not have been looking at what he was wearing. But again, I digress. So Porsha is in her confessional saying, "Ooh, I love Bolo. Like, I've been following him for a minute. I follow him on IG. I like what he has going on, child." And we see that Porsha really could not keep her hands on Mr. Bolo. I'm gonna be real with you. I've never really been into male strippers, but I have to say, I wasn't mad at Bolo. I was not mad at him at all. I said, okay. I said, I could deal with Mr. Bolo. I sure could. So, child, they all go into the house. They're at the living room. Candy's giving them their stack of ones to give. And it was so funny because Marlo was like, oh, all these ladies damn near have marital problems, so I know they're going to enjoy Bolo tonight. So she's talking about how LaToya, you know, she's on the fence with her husband / soon-to-be ex-husband. She's talking about how Kenya's man don't want her and all that nonsense, so Kenya's about to have a grand old time. And I was like, Marlo, now while you're shading, we have yet to see you with the man since season 4. Don't be too shady, sis, because word on the street is you can't keep them either. But again, I digress. So now Bolo starts dancing. He's about to take that big old third leg out and go to town. And they're all making it rain. Cynthia, of course, being the cheapskate that she is, she's giving him $6. I said, girl, if you don't give him the entire stack and stop playing around, like, girl, that wasn't even your money. That was Candy's money. So give this man all them ones and stop fooling around. All the girls are into it. Drew is loving it. She's like, I've never been to a bachelorette party before, so I am getting my entire life just having a good time. And Miss Drew, we gonna talk about you too, baby. And I saw you on Watch What Happens Live, but again, let me not jump ahead. So while he's dancing, they're all cheering, having a good time. You see him doing flips and he's getting on the floor. And then we see he's ready to leave. And then while he's in the bathroom, I guess getting ready to leave, we see Cynthia being put in a sex swing by Candy. And so they're having a good old time. Cynthia's getting her life. She's like, ooh, like, I never even been on a sex swing before. Like, I've never had all these firsts in my 54 years of living. And so they're putting one of her sex toys on her as well, and they're all just laughing. We see Kenya rolling all around the floor, child. I mean, legs to the moon. Those boots, like I said earlier, are everything. So we hear Porsha and Tanya, and I think Kenya as well, and some of the other ladies saying that they don't want Bolo to leave. They want him to stay. And Porsha is like already 3 sheets to the wind. Well, they actually all were at this point. So anyhow, I think she goes on to ask Candy if he can stay. And so we see Porsha go to the bathroom where Bolo is, and she's like, hey, like, me and the other ladies don't want you to leave. And he's like, oh, like, okay, well, like, are the cameras going to be on? So now we see the next scene. They are telling production to get the F out. They're covering all of the cameras that are also around in the house because they don't want none of their shenanigans to be recorded. Okay? They want everything that is done to stay in that house and to stay between them. So Bolo is staying, production has left, and we only see like the outside because there was still one camera that wasn't covered. And we hear Shamia saying, so Porsha, girl, you bisexual tonight? And Portia's like, yeah, bitch, I guess I am. You know, somebody better be eating this wop tonight.
Hard for women. I don't get hard for men. Ain't nothing wrong with a flirtation.
I said, Porsha is too much. He said, somebody gonna eat something tonight. I don't care who it is, but I better be getting some. So now in the next scene, we see Drew in her confessional, and again, it's very basic instinct like, and she's being very coy as well with production asking her questions. She's kind of like, well, I'm not going to say what I saw or what I heard. Like, that's between us. So now we see the next day, and when I tell you the house is in complete disarray. You see empty bottles of liquor all over the place, pieces of bread all over the place, just a complete hot mess. Like a whole orgy just went down. So we see Kenya, and she's letting us know that some real freaky stuff went down. She says that after her nanny dropped Brooklyn off to her room, she perused through the house where the other ladies were, and she saw that everybody was having a good time. She saw Porsha and LaToya making out on the chair, and then we kind of saw a little clip of them kissing as well because one of the house cameras caught it. So then she says that she heard some sexy music playing at some point much later on in the wee hours of the morning, and then we see a clip of Shamia, Tanya, Drew, Porsha, Bolo, they're all in the room and they're all having a good old time laughing and giggling. And then at one point we hear Tanya say, I'm going to get in so much trouble. So now we cut to Cynthia in her bed and she's like, oh my gosh, like what the F happened last night? Drew comes in her room and they get to talking about what the F went down.
Well, does it though? I think so.
So Cynthia says, girl, it was WAP everywhere, okay? I saw everybody's WAP last night. It was a whole lot of girl-on-girl action between Porsha and LaToya. And then also, I guess, LaToya and Tanya as well. But they're not sure if those two really did anything, but they saw that Tanya was on top of LaToya. Or LaToya was on top of Tanya, but yeah, y'all get what I'm saying. So then Drew admits to Cynthia that Bolo picked her up and bent her over on the coffee table, and he was dry humping her. So they're laughing, and then we see the clip again of Drew and Bolo. We see the arrows of them, and then you can like hear the motion of he was obviously doing something. My personal opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if he did more than dry hump Drew, okay? And it was really funny because I caught Drew on Watch What Happens Live after the episode, and she was like, she had already told Ralph while they were filming, what had went down at the bachelorette party, but she says that, of course, it's always a lot different hearing about something versus seeing it. And she said that watching the episode with him, Ralph was really pissed. And the only way to, I guess, get him off of her back, she said that she had to remind him about him leaving for Tampa for 3 days and not saying anything. I was like, that's a hot mess. And I could honestly see Ralph retaliating and doing something else now since she had her little fun with Bolo. I really hope that Ralph doesn't make Drew's life a living hell because of this episode. And I feel like their marriage already has so many problems. So I'm just like, Lord, I hope this isn't the straw that breaks the camel's back. I mean, he still hasn't even admitted to her who he was with when he was in Tampa. So I'm like, look, y'all are even. So Ralph, you can't get that mad. So I hope that they're okay. And I'm looking forward to this reunion when they go over this whole stripper gate, threesome gate again. But again, I digress. So Drew is like, so are you going to tell Mike everything that went down? And she's like, yeah, I have to. I'm going to. I will. And Cynthia's like, are you going to tell Ralph? And she's like, yeah, girl, I'm going to be honest. And you can tell that Drew was nervous. So now we see the ladies kind of scattered around the house. Cynthia comes down the steps and Tanya passes by. And Cynthia's like, girl, it looks like a whole whorehouse in here. And Tanya's like, it does. It was a whorehouse. And then Cynthia's like, girl, I need to talk to you later on and ask you a few questions about what went down. They start laughing. So now we see Drew, Candy, Marlo, and Porsha. They're getting ready to go on a fishing trip. And they're, getting ready to go out. And they're just talking about how fun last night was. We see Kenya come on into the kitchen, and of course, Kenya is being messy, and she's like dropping some tea about what went down. And Drew is kind of like, girl, do like Marlo and keep it to yourself. Whatever you heard, whatever you thought you saw, just keep it between you and the good Lord. You don't have to go around trying to expose people. Like, what happened here stays here. So they go on to the bus, headed to their fishing trip, and then we see Kenya and Cynthia by the pool, and they're just chatting about what went down. Cynthia says, girl, it was a whole lot of girl-on-girl action, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Cynthia had me dying. She was like, I watched all them all over each other for a good 20 minutes, and I got a little tingly down there. So Kenya is cracking up laughing. Then they start talking about who was on who, and they're like, oh yeah, because it was Porsha and Latoya, and then it was also Tanya, and I think Latoya as well, and I don't know what Tanya was doing, but I saw some breasts in the mouth and all that stuff. So they're laughing about that still. So while we see Kenya and Cynthia talking about last night, we also see the ladies on the bus discussing last night as well. Marlo says that she was so shocked by Kenya because she had no idea that Kenya had a very sexy side, because Kenya a lot of times acts like she's a stick up her ass. She kind of acts very prudish. And can we talk about Shamia for a quick minute? Shamia hit those splits. I said, no, this is why she got that rich man. I said, I know that's right. I love Shamia. I just think that she is just stunning. But again, let me not get off a topic. So now we are back at the pool with Kenya and Cynthia. So Latoya sits down to join them. Now Kenya starts questioning Latoya because she wants to know who was in that room sleeping with Bolo, okay? She wants to get to the bottom of this mystery. Latoya's like, girl, I left out at 6 a.m. I had no parts in sleeping with Bolo. Like, I was on Instagram, so I'm innocent. So Kenya's like, you're exonerated. And at this point, even Cynthia's kind of like, okay, it's getting a little bit weird, like this interrogation, like just leave well enough alone. Now, you Kenya fans, I complimented your girl. I said she looked really good in that red latex. And this is not me coming for her. This is me just making an observation. So do not get down in those comments and talk about how I'm always getting on your fave, okay? I'm not doing this with you guys today. And if this were anybody else doing this, I would say the same thing. I don't like being around people who have this tattletale, I want to expose you spirit when we're out having a good time. On a girls' trip, what happens on a girls' trip stays on a girls' trip, okay? Unless somebody is doing something illegal or is on death's door, it doesn't need to be shared. And I just kind of feel like just leave well enough alone. Like, you're questioning everybody. It's just not needed. Like, why does the mood always have to be brought down by your antics? Like, Kenya, you were in the zone. You were having a good time. I mean, you looked really good. Like, why can't you just leave whatever happened last night? Just leave that in the past. So now Shamia and Tanya join them by the pool. And of course, she starts questioning the both of them. Shamia lets her know that she left the party around 4 a.m. Nothing happened. She just was having a good old time, and that was that. So now Kenya starts questioning Tanya, and she's talking about she heard that somebody got spanked by a tongue. And Tanya's like, girl, I don't know how to answer what you're asking me. Like, I was not getting eaten out by anybody, so like, stop it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Tanya's energy gave me very much I'm guilty. So here's my thoughts. I believe that it was Porsha, LaToya, and Tanya in the room with Bolo, okay? I believe that Porsha definitely had sex with him, and so did LaToya. And I think that Tanya was there, but I don't think she had sex with Bolo. I think that she was either fooling around with Porsha and LaToya, or she was just watching and enjoying the show. But I think that Tanya was involved in some capacity. I just do. Because her energy did not give me the energy of a woman who was innocent and had no parts in it, okay? But again, just my opinion. I really want y'all to drop down those comments and let me know who y'all thought was sleeping with Bolo. So now we see the ladies on the boat, Candy, Porsha, Marlo, and Drew. And they're just talking, laughing. We see Marlo mention how her and Kenya somewhat got along last night, but the fact that Kenya still hates her. And Candy's like, look, I just want y'all to put the past in the past and just have a good time. Focus on how you guys are somewhat getting along on this trip and how you guys got along last night. So now we see Marlo. She actually is catching this big old fish, and the captain of the boat is trying to help her out. And I was like, oh wow, like Marlo really caught something. So they're all just cheering her on about that. And I was cracking up at how Marlo had on her fur slides. I was like, girl, you brought the wrong shoes to try to go fishing in. But I just thought that was really funny. So now we see Marlo, Candy, Drew, and Porsha come back to the house. And they are like, Kenya, is there food for tonight? And so Kenya's like, girl, let me get my black ass up and get some food because I do not want Candy chopping my head off like she did 2 days ago when I had that crab cake just for me, myself, and I. So then the ladies at the pool all go inside and they're getting ready to cook some dinner. They're doing like a seafood broil. I was cracking up because Marlo was trying to help LaToya cook the shrimp, and Marlo was like, girl, do you know how to cook? And LaToya was like, no, like I really don't. I would not want LaToya preparing any meals for me, but again, I digress. So now we see Candy, Marlo, Shamia, LaToya, and Kenya. They're at the table. And Kenya starts up the line of questioning again towards Candy. And she's all like, so who slept with Bolo? Like, what did you hear? Because I heard a lot of moaning and groaning for 45 minutes. So they're like, girl, like, what? Like, what is going on? Candy's like, baby, if I did hear anything, I wouldn't tell you because I know how to respect people's privacy. And everybody was looking at Kenya like, girl, it's getting weird. Like, just leave it alone, please. Like, why are you so hell-bent on trying to find out who was doing what with who? And why are you trying to expose them? Like, enough. So Kenya just lets them know again that she was in the kitchen and she heard some noises. And so she was standing outside of the door and she heard some wild sex going on for 45 minutes. I said, Kenya, you a whole lie because you cannot tell me that you stood outside that door for 45 minutes. You know you want to join in and bust it wide open with whoever was in there with Bolo. You don't fool me. So they're laughing at Kenya like, girl, you are wild for this one. Like, enough already. So Kenya's like, no, like I heard them say me harder and like, no, something went down. So Shamia's like, girl, they could have been watching porn for 45 minutes. And I was kind of like, Shamia, nobody's watching porn for 45 minutes. You're watching it for 5 minutes, if that. let me stop it because we talking about them. So Kenya says it was definitely Porsha, Bolo, and somebody else because I recognize Porsha's voice, and that's that. So next we see Cynthia. She's getting ready for dinner, and while she's trying to pick out an outfit, she calls Marlo, and she's like, Marlo, you always have it going on with the fashion, so come and help a sister out. So Marlo's like, yeah, sure, I'll be there in a minute. Marlo comes to her room, they're talking, and then all of a sudden, Cynthia lets her know that she has a burning desire for her and Kenya to make amends and be friends again and just put this crazy beef to the side. Marlo's like, yeah, I would actually love to talk to her because I am really tired of our feud as well, and it's just really draining. I'm in a better place, and I would love to talk to her. So Cynthia is like, well, you know what, Marlo? I'm so glad that you are in the mood to make things right with Kenya because I want you guys to make amends right now. And they are walking to Kenya's room. Marlo's like, wait a second, right now? Like, I'm not ready for all this. So they knock on Kenya's door and she's like, girl, it's me, Cynthia, and I'm here with Marlo Hampton. And Kenya's kind of hesitant to open the door, but she opens the door. They walk right on in, and Cynthia is like, look, I just want you guys to be back on track and make amends and put all this pettiness to the side. Like, please, I'm tired of all the nonsense, and so is Marlo. So Kenya starts it off by saying that Marlo has hurt her very badly, and we see the whole montage of the nasty things that Marlo has said. And Kenya says, despite all the shade, you making mention of my mom, like that was just below the belt. That was just like really just messed up and just wrong. So Marlo says, I completely understand. Like when we were not friends, my sole intention was to hurt you. And I just want to let you know that I'm not in that place anymore. And I apologize from the bottom of my heart for ever saying really nasty, disparaging things about you and for hitting below the belt. And so she says, I hope that you can forgive me and accept my apology. Then Kenya not only accepts Marlo's apology, but she goes on to apologize to Marlo about how she put her in the really bad room in the house on this trip. So Marlo says, I really do miss our friendship because at one point we were very close, and we see the whole montage of Marlo and Kenya when they were super tight. And I remember that because if I recall correctly, Nene and Marlo weren't getting along, so her and Kenya really got super tight. And then we see them confiding in each other about how they both wanted kids and just hugging each other and comforting each other. And it was nice seeing the montage of them because their feud has gone on for so long that I even forgot that they were as tight as they were for a while. So now Cynthia is just like, look, I am so glad that y'all are back on one accord, that we can all be friends again. Like, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. And so Cynthia's like, I'm going to leave y'all because I still got to get ready for dinner, but I'm going to leave y'all too to chat and joke around. And it was so funny because Marlo is like, girl, give me a hug. And Kenya's like, all right now, girl. And so, she's like fake straddling Kenya on the bed and they're just laughing. But I have to say, I was happy to see Kenya and Marlo back cool again, okay? Because we didn't need to see them at each other's throats at every single turn. And again, they were friends once upon a time. We do see Kenya saying in her confessional that although she's happy that they have made amends, she still doesn't know if her and Marlo are ever going to have the same friendship that they once had. I mean, that's understandable because when somebody does hurt you for that many years, it is hard to just bypass all of that and just start like nothing happened again. So it's going to take some time for them to be back like they once were, but they are on the right track. So thank God for that, okay? So now we see another confessional scene, and it's supposed to be Porsha's confessional. And the producers are like, wait, is Porsha not showing up? And they're like, yeah, she's not showing up. Like, Porsha said that she pleads the fifth. You not showing up to that confessional, talking about you're pleading the fifth. Like, what innocent person is doing that? Like, if you didn't do it, you would just say, well, girl, I didn't do anything. But you hiding out, it's like, you just can't help yourself, can you? And I really hope that Andy presses her about this at the reunion. I really do. So now we see a scene with Porsha and Tanya. They're getting ready for dinner. They're talking. And then Shamia comes into the room and she's letting them know what Kenya was saying down in the kitchen about how Kenya allegedly heard her and somebody else going at it with Bolo. So Porsha's like, excuse me? Like, excuse me? Like, what? Like, why would she say that? Porsha's getting angry. And then Shamia throws in Tanya's name and she's like, yeah, girl, she thinks that it was you and Tanya. So now Tanya's getting really pissed and she's like, you know, she's saying really disparaging things about the both of us. You guys know how Tanya talks. She kind of sounds just like Trina Braxton. So they're getting upset and I was like, Porsha, this is really bad acting on your part. Just own up to it, sis. You were involved in the threesome with Bolo, okay? Like, yes, Kenya's doing the most, but you are not an innocent party. Tanya seems awfully nervous, okay? Because she's not trying to lose that man, okay? And I get it, because I wouldn't want to lose him either, honey. That bag is very big, but I digress. So they're just saying that Kenya is full of it and they're really pissed off. It was like, Porsha, now you didn't do the confessional. You were there all night. Bolo left the house at 7:06 a.m. Let's not do this, okay? He was not up at 7 a.m. playing checkers, all right? Y'all were... Okay? That's what y'all were doing. So let's not. So now we see all the ladies gathering in the kitchen before they go on outside to eat. And LaToya pulls Porsha and all them aside and she's like, I see what y'all were saying about Kenya regarding this whole mess with Bolo. Like, she's really trying to get information out of people. Like, she can't just let it go. Like, let whatever happened last night stay in the past. And so Porsha's like, see, like, LaToya's coming to her senses. So now we're going to see that this is the start of why LaToya and Kenya fall out towards the end of the season. So I said, But you see how that happens, though. Usually these fast friendships fade out just as fast. So now they head on outside. Porsha's in a really effed up mood and they're trying to joke around. Her lips are poked out. She's pissed. Kenya and Marlo come on down the stairs and they're all clapping like, oh, okay. Like, they're all friends. So Porsha's kind of like, wait, really? Like, oh, they're back cool again? Like, oh, so Kenya has a little ally. So they are getting ready to eat. Porsha says that she's not hungry and she's just really pissed off. And we end the episode on a to be continued with Porsha saying, F Kenya. So I said, wow, we're going to get a good second half of this season. Okay, because it's going to be drama with Porsha and Kenya now. Drama about finding out who was in the bed with Bolo. And now some more drama between LaToya and Kenya. And now Kenya and Marlo are cool. So now it's going to be a whole lot of new arrangements, new friendships, new allies. So I said, oh, it's going to be good. Again, that was my recap. I hope you all enjoyed. I had a ball watching this episode. I was like, yes. But again, you already know what to do, guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.